What was your personal hell on earth when you were a kid? My dad. I never knew how he was going to act, react, show up, or not show up. I was constantly in fear, I was very confused, I wanted to love my dad, but after a while, I hated him with every inch of my soul. I still do sometimes. I understand this, my dad had PTSD from fighting in 2 wars and was a raging alcoholic. Spent my childhood walking in eggshells. Other kids. Nobody gave a shit if you were bullied in the 70s and 80s. The 90s too. Yeah, I was bullied in elementary school and all that the teachers did was telling me just ignore them or, even worse, stop being so sensitive. The 00s too. Adults were just as bad. They wonder why Gen X is the way we are. My friend Jacqueline's house. I didn't actually like her. I just felt like I had to go on playdates with her because that's what you do. Her parents were horrible people. Her brothers and cousins were assholes, and the bitch stole my Polly Pocket and one of my Barbies and told me she donated them to poor kids in Russia. I saw my Polly Pocket on the top of a bookcase in her house a month later, and that's when I was done with Jacqueline. Now that you're both adults, here's what you up to. 1. Start a business and make it successful. 2. Sell said business for millions. 3. Buy out business her parents work at. 4. Fire her parents. 5. Get bitches. This is definitely the plan. Spent a week falling asleep in one foster home and waking up in another before the courts released me to my grandmother. That was pretty horrible. I know how that goes. Except it was my whole childhood until I got kicked out. My whole life fit in a little suitcase that was always packed and ready to go. Dang. That sounds tough. How are you doing now? My name rhymes with a few unfortunate words. Kids calling you names every minute of the day in the class while the teacher does nothing, for 2 years straight literally changes a person, haha. My last name is literally Head. Can you beat that? I assure you, I've heard every insult possible by kindergarten. Try getting a woman, any woman, willing to be Mrs. Head. I worked with a guy named Richard Lips. I was told by coworkers to not shorten Richard to Dick. Okay, this one is the funniest. Alcoholic parents at home and constant bullying at school. Yup. Didn't want to go to school, didn't want to go home. I feel your pain, you weren't safe no matter where you went. I grew up never feeling safe from abuse at home and bullying at school, and now have to live with complex PTSD. People romanticize it and mental illness as if trauma somehow makes you brave or strong, but honestly it's just fucked me up, and when I'm having a bad episode the symptoms ruin my life. It's permanently damaged me and it might kill me someday. I would trade anything to not be mentally ill due to my childhood. When a kid would bully I would tell an adult. Their answer? Ot hat j oost m ya nst hey like y. Yeah, because that's totally a healthy way to learn how to develop your relationships or find your way out of toxic ones. Or just ignore them, but that's kind of hard to do when they get away with everything and the administrators and teachers protect the bullies and not the victims. Just ignore them. When they see they're not getting any reaction, they'll stop. I don't really know what to do, and I don't feel like disciplining all those kids, so I'm taking the easy way out. God, that too. Finally one day in school I punched a kid because I was so fed up with kids trying to cut my hair, long-haired male. Kids stopped after that. Violence isn't the answer, but it was the only solution that set the tone. My narcissistic mom. Spent my childhood always walking on eggshells and nothing was ever her fault. With me nothing was ever good enough. Not to mention the medical neglect. I only ever got medical help was when it would tarnish her image as a devoted mother. And when she was basically forced to take me to a psychologist by my school teachers, she'd sabotage it by telling the psychologist that I was a pathological liar and to not believe a word I said. And once the psychologist started believing me over her, she'd stop taking me. Wow. I just realized something. She'd always complain that I wrapped teachers around my little finger while giving me the look. I wonder whether it was because they didn't believe her lies because they saw the truth for themselves. Just an explanation of the look. She'd do it when she was angry at something I had done but couldn't punish me because it would make her look bad. Her image was very important to her. Watching my dad go from about 275 to around 70 pounds while cancer took him. Watching loved ones slowly wither away is so awful. I'm sorry for your loss. We just lost my sister's dad to lung cancer in May. I moved in with she and him when I was 15 and he was always so kind to me and we grew to be close. My sister took care of him until the last minutes and it was so painful. I'm so sorry you went through that, especially as a kid. Fuck cancer. Kids and female teachers who refused to listen when I told them not to touch me. Me but with family. Double standards are real and I'm sorry you had to go through that. Home. I love my family but I'll never forget how I was treated when I was young and had never wished to go back. Oh, love. I feel your pain and I'm sorry. Family can be terrible. I'm the only member of my family who grew up in the Northeast. When my parents retired, they moved here. My mom is from here. When my father got sick with cancer, I moved here to take care of them. My brothers couldn't be bothered. They all knew I was SA by my cousin, who then sold me to her boyfriends, their friends, etc. They all knew it would kill me to come back here. My mom was the only one who told me to stay in NY. But she wasn't physically or financially capable of taking care of my dad without help. He was riddled with dementia, diabetes and cancer. She was terrified that it would do something to my mental health. My father and I never got along. But I knew neither one of my brothers would step up. I really don't know how they developed such a deep hatred for my mom. Locked in a closet, almost dying of sepsis was pretty rough. Getting dragged from town to town, anytime the rent came due or mom saw them. Sometimes going days without eating, going outside and eating grass or pine needles. Yeah, I was gonna comment my mother. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. I can't imagine how awful that was and still is, or how that impacted your life long term. It's good to hear you made things change for yourself, but it can't have been an easy climb out of such a deep hole. Did things ever change for your mom, or is she no longer a part of your life? Why the hell would your mom do this? Was she schizophrenic? Not understanding why nobody seemed to like me. It seemed like everyone was always frustrated with me but I couldn't figure it out. ADHD middle kid problems, I guess. Not ADHD but Asperger's syndrome. I quite feel the same. Don't know why I did weird things and why people found me annoying, etc. Having disabilities is a bitch. Yep. Former Asperger's kid here. I had several traits which looking back now I can see how they would have been very annoying, or just plain weird, to everyone else even though to me they were just my own totally fine ways of expressing my incredibly vivid imagination. Surprised I didn't cop it more to be honest. But I still had my share of bullying at school and moments where even normally fairly tolerant family members just had enough of it and snapped at me over it. What I remember the most though is how much shit my older brother gave me for it. He was so eager to do hurtful impersonations of me or mock the things I did or liked for his own amusement. He was hardly a normal kid himself either but got lucky that he had a brother was an even weirder, easier target that was conveniently close by to shift the attention away from his own issues onto by flapping his arms around and making dur-her noises with his tongue out because apparently that's what I looked like. Home trying to not get my mother angry, or ignoring her and my dad fighting.